Hello, my name is Don and welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're talking 1022 stock, so don't go anywhere. All right, guys, so I've got 5 different stocks I want to talk about here. Now, these aren't just stocks that I've had for a limited amount of time. Every one of these stocks I've had quite a bit of use on, and I've got a really good opinion formed on every single one of them. We've got the Boyd's Pro Varmint. We've got the new Victor Titan Light. We've got the Luth-AR stock. We have the Krg Bravo. And then we have the regular Victor Titan Precision. So like I said, I've got a lot of time logged in on each and every one of these stocks, and I think I've got a pretty good opinion on what their strong points are and what their weak points are. This is not going to be an in-depth review on each and every one, but I will go over the highlights and some of the features that I appreciated or didn't appreciate on each and every one of these. So let's get started. So before we get started on the next round of stocks, I want to point something out. Now, the fitment on a lot of these stocks is very dependent on the receiver that you use. Not every receiver is going to be the same thickness. Not every trigger is going to have the same exact gap in between the receiver and the trigger that the stock uses to retain the back of the action. So I just wanted to point that out, that not all of the stocks are going to have a good fitment with some of the receivers that are on the market right now. So let's start off with the Luth-AR. Now guys, this stock was sent to me by Roth Performance. I did a full review on this last year. I'll link it down in the description. But this is a very versatile stock. I like this stock a lot. Basically, we've got a carbon fiber barrel on here, a red dot, and a receiver. And this thing will tear up a Steel Challenge course the way it's set up. This has adjustable comb height, adjustable length of pull. So this stock is very versatile. The ergonomics are really good on it. The weak point on this stock is this area right here. What can happen with this if you don't put an arcer rail? Now, if you're going to use this as a precision rifle and you're going to put a heavy action in this thing, a heavy barreled action in this, I would highly recommend that you put a full arcer rail in this. Now, the reason I say that is because this does have a weak point right here where the slots start. We have a good thick area of the stock from here all the way back to here, and then once we transition to these side slots and then the M-lock starts on the bottom, it's kind of a weak point. But if you put a full arcer rail under this, it does stiffen it up. Now it is a 5-slot M-lock system, so I think that transitions out to about a 9-inch rail, 9-10 inch. So if you are going to use this for a precision stock, I would highly recommend putting that full arcer rail in it. It kind of gives it a spine, makes it a lot stiffer. But if you're just going to use it for like a hunting rifle or Steel Challenge rifle, and you want to take advantage of its lightweight performance, that's where this stock shines. It's very lightweight, and if you put a lightweight action in here, you can pretty much tear up just about anything. It's very good at fast shooting. It's actually very good at a lot of things, but you might have to do a couple little adaptations like that arcer rail to make this thing shine. There is no pillar bedding in this. It's just you're bolting it into plastic where the action screw goes, and it's got a plastic little slot that the back of the action goes into. So it's a very simple stock, and it works very well. I highly recommend this on a lightweight build, and then if you're going to use it for precision stock, put an arcer rail on it and it'll work just fine. So let's go to the next stock. So the next stock we're going to talk about is the Victor Company Titan Light. Now Heather from Victor Company did send this to me. I didn't have to pay for it. Now guys, aesthetically, this is identical to the original Victor Titan Precision. The only difference is they took the metal reinforcement in the back of the stock out. They also took the pillar bedding out of this. So it's now a plastic action screw bedding right here. You might ask, well, why would they do that? Well, they did it for weight savings. And honestly, it's still really solid. It's still a very solid mounting system. Now I can induce some action movement from the shooter position. So if you watch here, you can see the barrel moving a little bit in there. This still retains the original rear retention system that the Titan has. So it takes it's Kid rear tank compatible. It has the rear spike anchor option or the original option with the little adjustment screw in it. It still retains all of that. It still retains the 4 QD cups for the sling. It's pretty much identical to the original Titan. It's just a lot of the metal reinforcement is removed to save on weight. Now this is about 14 ounces lighter than the original Titan, so almost a full pound. So they lost a lot of weight by removing the metal reinforcements in it. And honestly, guys, this thing is still, like, the back of the stock, it's super rigid. The action still mounts in there very, very well. It still, you know, it still has a really good fitment. It's really close to what the Precision has. Now, why would you want this? Why would you buy this over the Precision? Well, if you're building a lightweight rifle, that's why. If you're going to build something similar to what I have here, now I tried to keep with the theme of a lightweight rifle. This has the Kid ultra lightweight barrel in it. We have the just a regular Ruger Action Kid bolt and 2-stage trigger. And we have the Victor Company universal cheek rest on here, and we went with the EPL 4 lightweight stock. So this is still a very capable setup. This thing will shoot right alongside of the Precision model I have set up. It's just a lot lighter. This thing comes in at about 6.5 pounds versus close to 14 the way I have the other one set up. So if you're looking to build a lightweight rifle, go with the Titan Light. If you're looking to build a precision rifle, go with the regular Titan. You can't go wrong either way. So the next one is the Victor Company Titan Precision. Now this was sent to me by Heather from Victor Company. This is the original stock. This is one of the first stocks that had some sort of a way to fasten down the back of the Action. They have 3 different ways to fasten down the back of the Action with these little inserts. Now this is the original insert, and it just has a little adjustment screw to take up any clearance issues you might have between the receiver and the trigger housing. The second one is basically just like this, but it's Kid Tang compatible. So you can actually bolt this to the back of your Kid receiver, and then this will bolt into the stock. Very rigid setup. And then they have the rear spike anchor, where they have a 5/16 Allen bolt that's pointed, and you screw it in until it touches the back of the Action, give it a quarter turn, and that's just another way to fasten down the rear of the Action with the Victor Titan. Now this has QD cups front and rear on both sides. So let's talk about this build real quick. We have the Arkin SH4J on here. We have the Victor Company Grippy Cheek Rest. We're going to talk about that here in a second. Green Mountain 20-inch blued barrel, Brownell's bolt and receiver combination, and then we have the Kid trigger kit on this. We're also running a Salmon River ARCA. If you guys have never gone to Salmon River's website, if you're looking for any type of ARCA for any type of rig that you're trying to build, go there. They're going to have something really cool for you. Now, Victor Company also has their right size ARCA rail for this. It's built for the Titan. And they also have 2 different models. They have a lightweight option, and then they have a heavy brass option. So if you're interested in an ARCA rail for your Victor Titan, check that out as well. We have the Accutac bipod on here, and this is a pretty accurate rifle and not super expensive either. I did a build similar to this on the channel last year. It was called the budget build, and I kind of tried to duplicate that with a little bit better parts. On the original budget build, we did a BX trigger. This is the Kid trigger kit. We used the regular SH4. This is the SH4J. Everything else is pretty much the same. We do have the rear spike option on this instead of the original rear tang that comes with the Victor Titan stock. And we have the grippy cheek rest. Now let's talk about this cheek rest real quick. Now Heather sent me this cheek rest as well, and I didn't even know it existed. It has a rubber overmold on it. This also has screw plugs in it where the original one does not. So the fit and finish is a lot nicer on this as well. Once you get the cheek rest fastened down, you pop these little inserts in it, and man, I tell you what, the fit and finish is really nice on it and it's very comfortable. I'm glad she sent it to me. So yeah, guys, the Victor Titan Precision is it's a super well-built stock. It's super rigid. You can't go wrong with this. That's the Victor Titan Precision. Let's go to the next stock. So now I want to talk about the Magpul Hunter. Now guys, this used to be my least favorite stock for a 1022. And the big reason why I didn't like this stock was how loose the action and barrel were in this. And it turns out that was my fault. I took the little cradle. They have a little barrel cradle that is removable in here, and that totally changed the way this stock felt. And honestly, I didn't notice any difference on how the rifle shot. With that little cradle in there, it hugs the bottom of the stock and it just makes the action absolutely rock solid. Now, you might say, yeah, but you're not free floating the barrel anymore. Yeah, I agree. And that's why I took it out. I always figured that free floated was better. But in this particular situation, it really wasn't. Now, some of these barrels, the thinner the barrel, the more vibration it's going to have in it. And that's why a lot of these guys are going to these big truck axle barrels in the 22s. But even a 920 barrel, like what this Green Mountain is, doesn't have a lot of vibration in it to begin with. So I didn't really notice any difference in accuracy with or without that barrel cradle in there. So guys, if you have one of these stocks, try putting that back in if you didn't lose it. And see if you like the stock any better. Now, I really like the ergonomics of this stock. I like the fit and finish of the stock. I love Magpul's polymer. Magpul makes really good polymer, and I really like the kind of wrinkled, dull wrinkled finish that this has on it. It's really a good looking stock. I do wish we had one more M-lock slot on the bottom and on the sides. I think we're stuck with 3. Yeah, we have 3 on each side and 3 on the bottom as well. That's something that I would like to see. I would love if Magpul would make a little insert for a vertical grip. So leave the stock like it is, but put some type of a provision in there where I can snap in a more vertical grip. I like a vertical grip on a precision rifle. It's just my preference. Now, granted, the 60 degree is not bad, but I prefer a vertical grip. Now, make it snap in, kind of like the cheek rest snaps in. Now, Magpul does include enough length of pull spacers to go from 12.5 inches to 14.5 inches. So for most people, you're not gonna have to buy more length of pull spacers, but you'll probably end up having to buy one of the 2 kits that are available for your cheek rest. They have 2 kits. They have a low medium and then they have a medium high. And I had to buy both kits because you never know what kind of scope you're going to put on these things. And you kind of need every one of these that's available to, so I move these things around a lot. I'll put different actions, different scopes. I mean, it's one of the nice things about a 1022 is you can play around moving things around and create a totally different rifle out of it. But in order to do that, you need every one of the cheek rests that are available. So there are 2 different kits, and if you want to buy both of those kits, they're about $24 each. So that's another cost that is added to this. I wish they would just throw that in the box. I mean, you know, charge me a little bit more for the stock and put it in the box. That way we don't have to be inconvenienced going to Amazon to try to buy these kits and or try to find them somewhere else. You know, it's just a big inconvenience. Charge me a little bit more and throw it in the box. I would greatly appreciate that. Now, guys, the fit and finish on this is really good. The inlet on the you know, around the trigger and around the magazine is top notch. The magazine drops free. out of this, you know, it's a really nice stock, and they're not terribly expensive. It does have these included footman's loops for a sling. It has one on each side. I'm talking about this little deal right here. It's called a footman's loop. They have one on each side, and it's for a sling attachment. Now, I was going to complain that this doesn't have any type of retention for the rear of the receiver, but honestly, guys, if you keep the barrel cradle in there, it doesn't really need it. This action it's tight as can be in here, and every action that I've ever put in this, as long as I had the barrel cradle in there, was nice and tight. Now, if you take that barrel cradle out, this thing is loosey-goosey, and I don't recommend it. My biggest complaint on this is it doesn't have included QD cups. Victor includes front and rear, both sides, QD cups for the sling. This does not have QD cups. The Magpul QD cups are expensive, and if you went to put the Magpul ones in here, you'd have an extra 30 bucks added to the cost of your stock pretty quick. So what I would like to see from Magpul, instead of an X22 Hunter, give us an X22 Precision with an integrated Arca rail, or at least a provision to be able to install one. Give us more M-lock slots on the side. Give us an integrated grip system, maybe overmolded so it's nice and soft. Give us included cheek risers. Give us included QD cups. Just make an affordable, all-in-one package where we can just put our 1022 in it and go shoot a match. That would be a great seller, and I really think Magpul should make something like that. But guys, as far as this stock right here, it's a good stock. A lot of people have them, a lot of people love them, and there's a good reason for it. It's a decent stock. All right, guys, let's go to the next one. All right, guys, so the next one I want to talk about is the Krg Bravo. Now, where the Magpul Hunter is more designed for hunting, the Victor Titan is kind of a dual role stock. The Krg Bravo is basically set up for PRS shooting. And what really makes this stock stand out from the rest of them is it has a aluminum chassis bolted into the polymer stock, and it makes for a very rigid system. Now, the mag drops free, no problem. The fit and finish, the inlet is very good. It does have a sharp corner behind the trigger here, so you might want to file that down with a file just to take the sharp edge off of that. But the fit and finish on the stock is very good. Now, it's got 2 M-lock slots on each side of the rifle, and it has 5 M-lock slots on the bottom. So you can fit, I believe it's a 10-inch M-lock Arca rail on the bottom of this pretty nicely. You could put a longer one on it if you wanted to, but it will overhang. And a lot of guys do that with the stock because the stock is so short. Now, guys, being this stock has a chassis system bolted into it, it makes for a very rigid setup. Now, it is rear tang compatible as well, and that really helps for, if you want to bear down on the bipod, you're not going to be causing either, up and down misses, or if you're shooting off of a bipod and then you go to a rest or a bag, it's not going to shift your zero. This is a really consistent platform as far as how rigid the barrel is, and that can be a problem with some of the polymer stocks. Now, this stock has a bunch of different accessories available for it, and I have a couple of them installed right now. This is a toolless rear length of pull, and the length of pull on this, as it comes from the factory, is kind of ridiculously short. It comes with an 11-inch length of pull, and they do give you an inch spacer from the factory, which brings it out to 12. Now, guys, the average stock in the United States is the length of pull is 13.5 inches. So that 12 inches that they're giving you in this stock is well short of that. Now, if you're a decent sized guy, you're either going to have a choice of buying the 1022 length of pull kit, which will extend it out even further, or you can go with the toolless adjustment like I have here, which gives you a lot more length of pull than what the other kit would give you. So The price difference between the two kits is about $20, so I think it's better just to pay the extra $20 and go with the toolless length of pull. It just works out a little bit better, and you're not limited to how far you can go. Now, the only real feature on this stock that's included is the toolless comb height. So that's the only thing that's really included on this. Everything else is an option. They have optional spigots, so you could bring the bipod out a little further. The Arca rail is optional. They have a lot of other little things. Oh, they have a night vision rail that you can put on here as well. But being the stock is so short, that kind of interferes with some scope choices. So if I wanted to use that with this scope, I wouldn't be able to do that because this is a long scope. Now guys, this stock comes in 5 different colors. It comes in OD green, FDE, red, black, and this gray color. Out of all the stocks that I've shown you today, this is probably the most solid. This chassis system that's bolted in here really makes for a very rigid system, and it does very well what it's designed for. It's designed for bench rest or PRS shooting. It's got a really nice vertical grip. It's very comfortable to get behind while you're shooting PRS or bench rest. It's a very comfortable rifle. And when you start putting some of these accessories on here, it makes it even better. Now guys, out of all the stocks that I've shown you today, this is probably the most rigid. This is going to give you a chassis type fit in a stock. So if you like a stock and you prefer a stock over a chassis, this would probably be the one that you would want, especially if you're shooting PRS or bench rest. It's really set up well for that. I wish it was a little longer. I think that's the thing that I've never really cared for on this is, once you start putting a longer barrel on this, it just kind of looks a little funny. And I think that if it was longer, you'd have more M-LOK slots available. You could put a longer Arca section on it. I just think that they made this a little too short. And I do believe that that length of pull that they give you from the factory is kind of ridiculous. And especially knowing that, most guys that are going to be using this, most bigger guys, are going to have to buy that length of pull extension just so that they can shoot the gun. So I don't really care for how everything on this is an accessory except for the cheek weld. I get it. KRG wants to make extra money on the accessories. I get it. But at the end of the day, by the time you get done buying everything that you're going to want for, shooting a PRS match or bench rest, you're going to have quite a bit of money into this where you might have wanted to go to a chassis in the first place. So that's the KRG Bravo. There's really not much more to say. Let's go to the next stock. So last but not least, we have the Boyd's Pro Varmint stock. Now, a lot of guys don't like this stock. I do like it. I like the vertical grip. I like the optional adjustable comb height, and the way this works is pretty cool. It's got 2 Allen head bolts in here, and what you do is you kind of lift it up to where you need it, and then you tighten up the bolts, and then there's a little a deal inside the stock that kind of spreads out, and it holds it in one spot, and it's quite sturdy, actually. Now, when you order one of these, you have, I think, 4 different options. You got 17 different colors you can choose from. You have if you want the adjustable comb, you can choose the recoil pad, and then you can choose whatever laser engraving that you want. Now, we kind of went all out on this one. We went with the adjustable comb height. We went with the laser engraving on the front and around the grip, and I really think that adds a lot to it. I'm kind of a sucker for this zombie green Arctic cat color. I think it's pretty sweet looking. Now, I bought the wood stock over like a plastic one for this particular build because this was going to be my hunting rifle, and for hunting I like a wood stock because it's just it's a little more traditional. It's warmer to the touch. It just seems like it's a little more appropriate for a hunting rifle. This is my squirrel gun, the stock, so this is the one I use for that. But the Pro Varmint is set up really well to be even like a bench gun. The way it's set up for here is good for riding on a bag. Now I happen to put a Picatinny rail in here, and the thing with these is the options are endless. They have an open area below the barrel here where if you wanted some extra weight, if you wanted to use this for like a bench gun, and if you wanted some extra weight, you could lead the front of this really easy. But the downfall of this stock is you got a 50-50 chance of getting something that's going to fit good with your setup. Now, if you're using a factory Ruger receiver, that percentage is going to be a little higher because these are designed for the Ruger receiver with a Ruger trigger. So if you just have a stock rifle, you know, to action, you're probably going to have a better chance of getting a good fit. Now, this particular build that I have here is a stock receiver. And we have a Kid 2-stage trigger, and it actually fits pretty good. The problem that I'm having with it is it's not free-floated. It's close, but it's actually the barrel's laying in the channel. It's very close, but it's not quite there. So if I wanted to run this action in this rifle, I would have to do some bedding. Now, the action I normally have in this is apart right now. I took it apart to test the Ballistic Advantage barrel. I got to put that action back together, and then it's going to go right back in this stock because it's my squirrel rifle. That's my squirrel rifle barrel. It's super accurate, and you know, that's where it belongs. So, and it is a very good fit because I use a Timney trigger on that, and the Timney triggers have a little bit less clearance between the receiver and the trigger housing. So on a stock like this, where that's real important, it actually fits really well in here. So to avoid having to pillar bed and, you know, trying to rebed this action, I think I'm just going to put that other action back in it and leave it there because I did get lucky that I had a setup that fit really good with this stock. So if you're a gambling man, you know, these are an option. If you're a handyman, these are an option because, like I said, you have probably a 50-50 chance on whether or not you might get away with not having to do any work to it. But the odds are pretty good that you'll probably have to do something to get this fit exactly right with the Boyd's Pro Varmint. So that's the Boyd's Pro Varmint. That's kind of what I think about it. That's the experience I have with it. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Those were the stocks that I had available to me. If I get more stocks, I may, you know, do another video. Now, the next video that we're going to do is on chassis. I have 3 or 4 different chassis available. And we're going to be getting the new RPG chassis from Victor Company. Hopefully within the next couple of months, we'll have that build video done. And hopefully by then, it'll start warming up outside. It's like 5 degrees outside, which is why I'm doing all this filming inside. There won't be any shooting going on around here for at least another week. We're in the really low temps, just like a lot of the rest of the country, but it's really bad up here in Michigan. So, all right, guys, well, that's pretty much all I got for you today. So if you like what you saw, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you like what I'm doing here, go down there and hit that subscribe button. I can't build this channel without you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.